Hey Facebook Live, how's everybody doing? I think we're live. Sometimes I can't tell. Facebook drives me crazy sometimes. How's everybody doing? This is, of course, Rich Fontaine with Daily Motivation, day 46, the year of consistency, 2020, to making our dreams come true, of doing the same thing, beating our craft every single day. And hey, Greg just stopped by. He's an awesome poet. You have to check him out. And if you watch this live, I appreciate it. If you have a chance to watch this later, I appreciate it. I always thank you for taking your time out of your busy day to watch little old me. Hopefully, give you something, some gems that you could take home with and utilize in your own life in a positive way. And what I want to talk about today is, so my wife gave me this book, Striking Thoughts by Bruce Lee. It's a very, very, very insightful book. It's kind of, you could tell it's Bruce Lee's realizations. As he was going through life, he started writing down these certain realizations. And he wrote down this one where I thought was so profound when I was reading it this morning. And he said, we can see through others only when we see through ourselves. I'm going to repeat that. We can see through others only when we can see through ourselves. And I thought that was so profound. It made me think and contemplate it for a while. And I realized it's how true that statement was in my own life. I remember being at a place where I was very naive. I didn't understand people. I didn't understand circumstances. I didn't understand situations. I just kind of felt like a victim. And when people did things wrong to me, I looked at them that they were wrong. And that there's just bad people in the world. There's just hateful people in the world. And I came to realize, as I started to understand myself, I started to become more forgiving. As I started to understand myself, I started to be more cheerful and more open towards people and more vulnerable because I realized my pains and their pains are very similar. This is what makes you a good coach, a good teacher, is when you know that your pain and their pain are the same. The only difference between you and I is a twist of fate. You know, I grew up with my father, and there's so many people I knew in my own community, people I grew up with that didn't have their father. And so I knew that I had an advantage because I did. And I don't look at them as, hey, they did wrong. Those people are criminals. Those guys are bad. They drug dealers and they fist fight and they're bad people. No, because I realized that I had something that helped me that they didn't have. And when you can understand yourself, you start seeing yourself in other people. And it makes you less judgmental towards them. And when you can become less judgmental towards them, you can have more of a connection with them. And the reason I'm ever effective on stage is I don't let that barrier between us get too thick. I open myself up. I tell you my story, how vulnerable I be on stage, because I realize that you and I are the same. There is no real difference. And when you get to know that in your heart, it makes you way more effective as a salesperson, as a human being. Because you realize when you see people, you don't put that judgment, that claim on them. Oh, that person's that. Or those people are like this. Or those people are like that. You're like, no, they have a situation that I could have been in if the twist of fate was different. If I didn't get arrested that night, my twist of fate was different. If I didn't have my father in my life, my twist of fate would be different. And that's something that I put in my heart, that I know that I'm not better than anyone, nor is anyone better than me. We've just been dealt a certain hand. How we play that hand becomes our reality. But many people don't realize that because they're just playing a hand thinking, well, this is just me. I'm by myself. I'm alone in this. But not realizing there's hundreds and thousands of people feeling just like you. Just like you. And when you can relate to that, it makes you more effective. It makes you have a better connected. Because when you realize that there's, like Neil Donald Walsh said, there's only one of us in the room, it makes you more of an effective speaker, influencer, businessman. Because you're not just thinking about, okay, I just need money. You think about, how can I affect the community in a positive way? What kind of service can I give that will uplift people? How can I help people in the situation I was in? So when you understand who you are, that's what they said on the Egyptian Gaza. If you go to the Gaza, there's something written in hieroglyphs. It says, know thyself. In all major religions, they say, know thyself. Why? Because when you know who you are, everything else just becomes simpler. You're less confused. And when people don't know who they are, that's how they can trick you. See, I had people come project their insecurities on me. And I thought that was me. I was like, man, maybe I can't do it. But they were projecting. Once I knew who I was, I said, I could see it. It's the craziest thing. I wish I could explain it. That you could see through people. You can see through the BS. You can see through the mess. You can see what they're trying to sell you. You can see if they're good people or not. Like, for example, I just had a conversation with James Wood. I don't know if you know him. He's going to be doing the pastor at our wedding. And just having a conversation with him, knowing who I am, having a conversation with him, I said, man, that guy's genuine. Genuine. And there's people in my life, when I met them, and I was like, but my wife is like, hey, Rich, you got to be more open to people. You can't just be so judgmental. So I said, okay. And then when stuff hits the fan in my heart, I'm like, man, I knew it. I could feel it. You could feel it. You could feel when somebody's trying to sell you something. You could feel when somebody's trying to put the wool over your eyes. You can see when somebody's trying to play you. You can see when somebody's not being honest. You can see it. But only when you know yourself, because it's like the nuances. You're very in tuned. How they talk, how they walk, how they look at you, how they approach you, what they're saying, their body language. It's all there for you. But only when you know who you are. Because then you can relate yourself to that other person. Like, hey, when I put my show, when I have that body language, this is how I'm thinking. So this person might be thinking the same way. You can predict. Like, I was having a conversation with James, and he was about to say something. I said it before he said it. He's like, I don't know how you read my mind. Because you become so in tune with your environment and where you are and who you are as a human being that you relate that connection with other people. And they don't have to say it. They don't have to say it. You could feel it from them. And so when you become attuned with who you are, your likes, your dislikes, you become less as a victim. You become less as a victim because you know who you are. The true essence, unbreakable, infinite Brahman that you are. When you know who you are, the people can't pull the wool out of your eyes. So my key today is get to know who you are, the inner game of who you are. Because once you could see you, truly know who you are, your flaws, your insecurities, your tough times, what makes you cry, what makes you happy, really be honest with who you are. Knowing other people becomes simpler. That's what makes you a better writer. That's what makes you a better communicator. Because you're not speaking from your own point of view. You're speaking from a global, universal point of view. And that affects people in a positive, global way. So today, get to know who you are. Spend time with you. Get away from the TV. Get away from the radio. Spend time with you. 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. I used to do this an hour a day. I used to come home from work and I had to spend time with me. And that's how I got to know me. Because before I didn't like me. And there was reasons why I didn't like me. But once I got to know me, I realized the vulnerability in me. I started to fix those tight little things in me. And once I fix those tight little things in me, I start to really, really like me. And once I started to really, really like me, it felt like other people started to really like me. Get to know who you are, because that is the one person that is the difference between success and failure in your life. Not the economy, not your boss, not your spouse, but that man or that woman in the mirror. That man or woman in the mirror. Get to know you. Spend time with you. The reason I'm getting married to Jazz is I dated myself. I dated myself for about a year. I dated me because I needed to get to know me. I said, how can somebody love me if I can't love me? How can somebody love me if I don't love me? So once you get to know you, getting to know that other person, getting to know that crowd, getting to know the audience, getting to know your spouse, getting to know others, it's simple because you know who you are. You know the light that shines through you. And once you get that light shining through you, the right people will connect right through. I appreciate you guys taking your time to watch this. Greg, I appreciate the comments. Kate, I appreciate the comments. Jazz, Terrence, Jose, I see some names here. If I missed you, I apologize. But thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. I love doing this. This is my heart and soul, what I do. Because I know these things, I'm blessed so I could bless others. This knowledge comes to me so I could give it away. Not sell it, but give it away. But give it away because I need it as well as everyone else does. So this is Rich Fontaine. Either you can agree with me or not agree with me. But either way, I feel this was a very successful conversation. And of course, I like to plug books. Striking Thoughts. Jazz got me this. Bruce Lee, some of his great realization. He was a very wise man. People don't realize that. He was extremely wise. And trust me, when you get to know who you are, the crowd, the audience, the clients, the customers, you'll get them like that. You'll get them like that because you'll know exactly what they need. As soon as they approach you, you're like, I know what you need and I'm here to help you. Thank you, everybody. Love is love. Have a beautiful night. Namaste. Oh. Thanks for sharing from the fountain of richness. You know what, Greg? I'm going to end up stealing that from you and writing a book called The Fountain of Richness. We might have to write a book together, sir. Well, appreciate it. I don't want to keep too much of your time. Love all of you. Namaste.